Well, let's talk about the Republicans investigating the 2024 presidential candidate that the Democrats are running. You know, a lot of times I hear this pissing and moaning from Republicans about, oh, how dare Trump be investigated, even though he's a private citizen currently, even though he announced he was running for president way, way early, like months and months and months early. I hear that all the time. What I don't hear them saying is, and by the way, why are we investigating Biden? He's also running for president. I don't hear that. Shocking, I know, but I suspect that maybe, and just maybe, they're not entirely honest folks, and that they don't actually believe anything they say. Here's the Majority Report talking about the state of their rabid, pointless investigation into Joe Biden.
To try and generate the Biden crime family narrative, and they're not doing a very good job. They had closed door
interview, basically.
Yes, testimony from a former Hunter Biden associate, a guy named Devin Archer, who apparently was investigated and convicted under the Trump administration of, I'm not sure what he was. He's about to get sentenced.
Fraud charges.
Fraud charges.
He defrauded a number of like indigenous tribes out of thousands, and he had to pay of like $15 million.
Classy guy.
Exactly. Thank you, Emma. Yeah, exactly what I would expect from the kind of person who agrees to participate with Republicans on anything. It defrauded a bunch of Native Americans. Okay. Great. Just want to point out, this is the nature of the folks that work with Republicans. They're a bunch of goddamn criminals, and they're con artists. And this is a closed door meeting they had with the person. Funny that they seem to have a hard time doing what, like, well, let's just say the January 6th folks did. Seem to have a hard time being open about their investigation, what is said, what is accused, and what is found. It's almost as though it is dumb.
Classy guy.
Nice guy.
Yeah.
And they brought him in. Now, you're probably wondering, why would the Republicans not want this guy to testify in public?
Yeah. I mean, don't they
That's a
want
question.
the public to hear about this associate of the Biden crime family? By the way, that the indigenous fraud scheme was unrelated to Hunter Biden.
Right. This was just another business proposition of this guy. In the nearly 5 hours of closed-door testimony in the House Oversight Committee, Devin Archer, former partner, asserted that the elder Mr. Biden was not party to any of his son's business deals, and that Hunter Biden had tried to sell the illusion that he was providing access to his powerful father when he was not. This is classic sort of like fail son nepotism that we see in the context of politics all the time. I don't know whether.
Now again, the two things I think I always say about Hunter Biden. Number one, I'm furious with the Republicans for making me be on Hunter Biden's side about anything. It breaks my heart. He's a rich boy. I don't like supporting them at all, ever, just on general principle. I don't feel it in my heart, you know? But as a proud fail son, as somebody who has the best of every world, as somebody who just wants to enjoy the fact that I got successful brothers and sisters, so I know that my My ma and pa don't have to worry about legacy. I'm somebody who's got gobs of nieces and nephews, so I don't have to worry about the name being carried on to the future. As somebody who would love to just take advantage of the unfair advantages that I have and get day drunk and smoke a big fat joint and listen to reggae and System of a Down or whatever the hell and ride dirt bikes around the backyard if I want, I don't like that fail sons are being dragged through the muck. We have the muck we're comfortable with, please and thank you. Why can't you just be Hunter Biden and as he was doing happily banging whores and be addicted to drugs and just be self-destructive, but not be accused of being destructive to other folks by people who genuinely are destructive to other folks. Oh my God. All right. Let's get to it. Oh, I do love the Majority Report. Get to it, fellas.
It was like Billy Carter. I don't know if anybody remembers him. Billy Boy would he got caught peeing outside, and that was a big. But all
Bill
of
Clinton's
them,
brother,
Hillary
too.
Clinton's brother-in-law,
Yeah.
like all of them.
It's called job hunting for rich kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and the Trump kids would never trade on their name.
And the Republicans are trying to argue that Biden lied when he claimed that he had no involvement in his son's business dealings, because apparently what Hunter Biden would do is he would be with business associates. He would call his dad on speakerphone, and they would just like, "Hey, Dad, what's up?" And it was not clear that Joe Biden was aware that there was anybody else in the room. And it was just a way of Hunter proving that I'm not alienated from my father. Now, we should be clear. Some of this happened while Joe Biden was vice president, which also in 2015 is the time where Hunter Biden's brother and Joe Biden's son, Beau, was dying of brain cancer. And
Before that maudlin point is made, and I'm sure it's going to be a good one, and before they get to probably the larger point, whatever it ends up being, I do want to say, as an olive branch to Republicans, if I haven't threatened away any Republican, if you guys want to make this behavior illegal, I'm all for it. I'm fine with it. Truly, if you guys want to say that it's straight up illegal to mention your connected family members in a business deal, or to imply that you have sway over what they do, I'm genuinely okay with that, because I'm on the lookout for any suggestions that make nepotism harder in the United States. We have a big problem with it. I'm sick of seeing Kennedys when I only gave a damn about 2 Kennedys half a century ago. I'm sick of still seeing Kennedys. I'm sick of seeing Clintons be wildly successful at business things. But the fact is, those laws don't exist yet. You gotta make them. So pursuing Hunter Biden for being related to Joe Biden is a nakedly corrupt thing to do. And the irony, I don't even think it's lost on Republicans. I think they know that Jared Kushner actually did receive things he shouldn't have received because of his relationship with Trump. He's his stepson. I think they know that Hunter Biden has no position in our government. He has just been enjoying the normal corruption of the United States, the legal corruption of the United States. So if you want to go after Hunter Biden's ability to profit off of Joe Biden's name, then you have to, and this is going to be totally foreign to Republicans, but what you have to do is make a law that applies to us all. And I ask you to do it, and I tell you, you will have my support. If you can pull your heads out of the warm, dark place that they are currently lodged and make a law that makes sense.
Biden, probably knowing that his son was an F-up, is going to answer the phone calls. And, you know, the trauma associated with having been in a car accident with your mom and your sister and your brothers and ending up in the hospital with your mom and your sister killed in the car accident. I mean, I can understand how that may very well screw you up for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And but here is James Comer on Sean Hannity's show.
Christ.
Again, like, hope springs eternal. They're coming on to deliver the goods, but they don't quite have it.
Yes or no? Do you believe that this is now officially the Joe Biden bribery allegation, and do you believe that you will be able to prove that? Jim Comer.
Sure.
Wait a minute. He was just nodding his head excitedly. How much do you want to bet that the thing he says next amounts to no? He was going, no. How much do you want to bet? We'll see. Whatever he says, though, I promise you he's not going to announce, and we have evidence that we are going to show you right now. Right now, you're going to see it. Tomorrow, watch tomorrow for the actual evidence we unveil. And I want to remind you that confused-looking, I can't think of a foreign word right now. Schlemazel, there we go. Do a little Yiddish. That confused-looking schlemazel up there is Jim Jordan, who tried to cover up a sex abuse scandal in a college where he was an assistant coach. You see, the team doctor was abusing athletes that were in Jim Jordan's care. And what Jim Jordan did is call those athletes. This is later on when he was actually in a position of power. He called those athletes, begging them, crying on the phone and begging them not to seek justice. That's who that is up there next to James Comer.
I hope so. And I believe that there's a lot of smoke, and where there's smoke, there's fire. We just heard testimony today that Joe Biden had lied to the American people.
Yeah.
So no is the answer. Okay, neat. The answer was no. I sure hope so. You're the guy in charge of finding it. All right.
That testimony lied to the American people was that he had no, conversations about business or business dealings with Hunter Biden. And the testimony was clearly by the witness that Hunter Biden was trying to sell the illusion that he had access to his dad.
Illusion in quotes, according to at least what we hear. Because again, this was a closed door meeting. If they thought this was so damning, you think that the Republicans wouldn't put this in front of the American people?
Well, we put that back up. Why is Jim Jordan Jim Jordan looks like he's afraid the next question is going to be like, well, have you thought if you really want to talk about smoke and fire? What about the guy in the window next to you, Comer, who had multiple former wrestling athletes testify that Jim Jordan completely ignored their pleas and complaints about a sexual predator?
The lad from Brooklyn town never lets you down. I do love Sam Cedar.
Yeah, Jim Jordan coming in. Yeah, sometimes there is smoke without fire. There's no fire.
Yeah.
let's not get carried away.
Could be a smoke machine or something.
And I love to, this was yesterday, but Comer was trying to say, because I guess on Saturday or over the weekend, the sentencing for Devin Archer was handed down, or when he was supposed to report to prison for that fraud charge. And Comer was like, suspicious timing right before he's supposed to testify. And it's like, well, I mean, wouldn't they try to sentence him so he couldn't testify, so he would go to prison first? It makes no sense, but they're just
and who scheduled the testimony?
Yeah.
It's
right.
Comer.
It's you guys.
And incidentally, Archer was prosecuted and convicted during the Trump administration. Here is Byron Donalds, who is probably having to do some penance for daring to come out and say Ron DeSantis, his education standards teaching that slavery had some personal benefit for the enslaved. Here he's coming out trying to get in on the something suspicious here.
Let me bring this for people to really see how this makes sense. Okay. I'm a member of Congress. I have 3 sons. My 2 older sons have cell phones. If I'm in a meeting and they call me, sometimes I can't call them back. Sometimes I can't call them back for 4 or 5 or 6 hours. Joe Biden is at the ready, waiting for Hunter's call to be able on the phone with people, just say, hey, how's the weather? This stinks to high heaven. It is public corruption. Hunter Biden is the bag man, and Joe Biden is the influence peddler, pure and simple.
Couple of humorous things here. Number one, Byron Donald saying, look, I have a family, and when I'm at work and they call, I prioritize work over my family. Jesus Christ. All right, I'll benefit of the doubt here. Public servant, maybe that's what you do. The absolute irony, though, of him using the word bag man. If you're not aware, Rachel Maddow did a now rather popular podcast called Bag Man, and it was about Spiro Agnew, Richard Nixon's vice president, literally getting bags of cash while in the White House. Bags of cash that were bribes. That's why he didn't take over, Spiro Agnew. He didn't take over for Nixon. When Nixon was booted out of office for doing the less intense version of things Trump did. It's just an extra, it's a little side dish there for you. A little side dish of irony. And you'll excuse me if we are joined by a Jack Russell Terrier. He's telling me he would like a little attention from his pup.
Simple. And speaking...
Yes,
Okay.
If you pick up your son's calls, you know what that means? You're corrupt.
Something very suspicious going on here. That's too good of a father.
Right.
And there's no, I mean, there's no evidence that, or I mean, let's just, it's not clear that Joe Biden was in the middle, like he was sitting down with I don't know, Netanyahu, and I got to take this. Let me put him on.
And also just sticking with the point. Let's not forget during this time also, Beau Biden was dying of brain cancer, for God's sake. I mean, have just a shred of humanity for a second if you're a Republican, and you might be able to understand why Joe Biden takes the call from Hunter Biden, who is known, especially amongst his family members, he is known to have an issue with drugs. And what a time somebody might be relapsing.
Hey, Hunter. But again, when Joe Biden was vice president and was taking these calls in 2015, his other son was dying of brain cancer. And he's also aware that Hunter is a mess. It's just the level of desperation. I don't know what the Republicans could attack Joe Biden on, from what side. They tried with Afghanistan when he pulled out.
So, all right. All points I fully agree with from the majority report. Just really wanted to drive that home. That's the kind of stuff that Republicans are using to try to say that Biden is corrupt. But don't forget why they are doing that. They are trying, to them, there is value in making a bad case for their political opponents to be corrupt, because they know the people that support Republicans will see this and think, the other case that I keep hearing about, that must be the same kind of thing. Oh, my guys are grabbing at straws here, but that's probably what's happening on the other side too. I don't need to polish up on that. And what I have been telling y'all from the jump is that once this gets to court, it becomes too interesting. First of all, it becomes consequential to them. Second, it's too damn interesting. They're not going to be able to ignore it. They are going to find out that Trump did what he did, and they'll probably disappoint you with their reaction to it. But not all. Bit by bit, Trump will lose support. Bit by bit, MAGA will lose support. Bit by bit, people are going to come to the realization that if you want something serious done, if you have a serious job, you don't give it to these people who are unserious people. They are evil people, they are corrupt people, but they are not serious people. So, I fully expect that we will hear a trickle of rebellion against MAGA, followed by the dam breaking and the end of this shameful era of U.S. politics. It was an era of errors. Hopefully, though, we learn the lessons needed from Reconstruction. We learn the lessons that we failed to learn then, that we failed to learn after Nixon. We learned the lessons that we failed to learn after Reagan. We learned the lessons that we failed to learn after Bush. And we understand that the conservatives in the United States, now represented by the Republican Party, as an organization, when they form one, it's a criminal organization. It does not have the interests of the American people at heart. If we want the conservative viewpoint represented, it's time for a new organization. Doesn't mean that conservative belief is inherently criminal. It's not necessarily. It's simply a resistance to change. But I note that the things that they want to resist changing, are all the things that hurt the American people. There's a new America that is being built, and it is my great hope that capable people like you are the ones that are going to build it.